Beautiful Brown Baby Doll, and I'm coming today to give you some motivation. And I felt compelled to do this because I've never really told this whole story, I don't think, to anyone. The only person that probably knows this story is myself, my mother, and God. I think it's easy for people to forget where you came from when they see where you are now. For my new viewers, I am a licensed psychologist and professor in the state of Texas. Went through 10 years of school. First earned a bachelor's degree, earned a master's, and earned a PhD. Came this far, and I really didn't think I would make it this far. Never thought I would make it this far. I promised myself I wasn't gonna cry on this video, but I'm gonna be very raw and real and honest. A lot of you all are going back to school, don't know what you want, don't know your direction, don't know your goals, don't even know if college is for you, don't even know if school period is for you. I don't care what walk of life you're in or where you're going. You might not know. You might not feel like you have direction. You might not feel like you have the drive, the strive, the motivation, to support whatever it is. Hopefully my story will help you think about what you have to offer this world, and why, if you have it in your heart to do something, you shouldn't allow yourself or anyone else to stand between you and that goal. Here's my raw story. When I first went off to college years ago, I ain't gonna say when, I failed my first year. I sure did. When I say I failed, I royally failed. So here's a royal fail for you. Y'all know GPAs, right? You kind of iffy when you get like a 2.0. You like, oh, I probably need to brush up. Well, your girl finished up that last semester in my first year with a 0.89 GPA. 0.89. Many people will say, well, how do you sit before me, Dr. Nina? I had to get it together. And I also had to think about what I wanted in terms of my life and not what anybody else wanted. When I went off to college, I was confused. I was insecure. I didn't really understand how to study because in high school, they didn't really teach us how to study. If you were smart, you were smart. And I didn't have to study much. So going off to college, I went to Truman State University. It was considered a harder university, and a lot of students came there with skill sets for studying and learning, for understanding, for decision making, and I felt like I was pretty aimless. My mother had been a big support system in my education, and I had always done pretty well because I was able to use being bright to try and get through everything I was doing. But y'all, I got back like my first test in one of my biology classes, and I was a bio major, and I get the test back and I'm like, that's all? Did she forget some percentages? Your girl had like an F that was like, you know, off the charts F, like definitely a F, like a 20 F. Like, if you didn't know what an F was, you got an F. Not, can I work harder for 10 more points? No, if you work harder for 10 more points, you still got an F. That kind of F. That drove my self-esteem down even lower. If you all know my weight loss story, I was already a heavier woman at that time, and I wasn't very sure of myself because in college, that was the first time I really became aware that all of these different young ladies, they were out there with cute bodies and had they stuff together, and I'm out here like, I'm a tomboy. I really didn't care about that before, but now it's like, dang, first off, I can't get my grades right. I don't like the way that I look, and I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. That was the first thing that was really throwing me off track. The other thing was I kind of locked myself down. I didn't really like all my roommates when I first moved into my first dorm room. I liked some of them, hey Aaron, but some of the other ones could have gone. They could have gone, they could have, you know, left. I really didn't know how to deal with that either. I had been the only child for so long, and then my little sister, who was adopted closer to when I was about to go to college, we really didn't have that many years in the house together. So I wasn't even used to sharing my stuff, people trying me. I had someone who made a comment that was pretty racist. They didn't understand black people and black people hair and all of that, and I was rough. I was from the hood, from St. Louis, Berkeley to be exact. That didn't make for a good situation. When you're living with people you don't like and you go into classes where you getting 20% on tests, that don't really make for a good experience. So my issue wasn't boys, it wasn't partying, it wasn't doing too much, it was not doing enough. I'm gonna be honest. You know, some people go to college and they just do everything, they cool with everybody, they got their social circles, they got everything going on. I had none of that. The great thing was I had my mother through all of this, so she would listen to me complain and she would listen to me talk about it. But point, she really did not want me to leave school. I couldn't do none of it for her. I couldn't stay at school for her. I had to want to do it for me. I wanted to do better. And second semester of that first year, I ended up having surgery. I was a 35H in my breast at the age of 17/18. I had to get a breast reduction. I had that breast reduction, came back to school, couldn't really lift anything heavy for 6 weeks, and I think I kind of fell into another depression because I was really convinced that everybody was looking at me and I looked a certain way, and here I am, I done went and got this surgery, and people had little comments about that. You ain't got no breasts no more, you ain't got no titties no more. I really took a lot of stuff to heart. I would say I'm definitely a more improved young woman since that time. You might say, like, why is this story supposed to be motivating? Well, because we all fall down. We hear the glory, but we don't listen to the story. People assume that I've always been pretty successful at things, but that first year at school, I was on academic probation. I entered a depression. I was down on myself. I thought I was worthless. I thought I couldn't make it. I double guessed the reason why I even went to school. Was I going to school for my mama? Was I going to school just for my family, for other people? Was I doing it for me, or was I actually happy with the situation? Bella, I'm trying to have a moment right now. Yeah. Okay. Not only did I have the academics going against me, but I also had the social life going against me, because it seemed like everybody was getting a boyfriend, getting booed up. They was cute, they had nice bodies, they was going to all the parties or getting invites to all the private parties. Meanwhile, I don't even think nobody knew I existed on campus, other than the friends that I had in the group that I had established a friendship with. I realize now, looking back on it, I did that to myself. I kind of alienated myself. I didn't hang around a lot of people. I think I was ashamed of my grades. Everybody that I saw, I assumed they were very successful and doing way better than I was. So I didn't want to be around them. I didn't want to be around them because I didn't feel worth being around them. I felt like everybody was doing great. And I think the older you get, the more you realize that that's not how life is. We choose to see things the way that we see them. Everybody has problems. Everybody double guesses themselves. Everybody has insecurities. And I think it's hard when you're harder on yourself than the world is. Most people didn't know that I went through a depression. Most people didn't know that sometimes I wish that I could be somewhere else or somebody else. I didn't want to be there. That was a very down time for me. I know if you're going through that in any part of your life, sometimes you need motivation. Sometimes you need somebody to say that you might look up to. Hey, I failed too. Hey, I've been there, and I have. When my change came, I decided I'm gonna do this for myself. This is what I want. I want to pursue a career that I'm proud of. I want to do something that I'm happy about, something that I'm interested in. So I got out there, I started meeting people, I started going to social events and making good friends and lasting relationships that I still have to this day. I started corresponding with my Office of Multicultural Affairs, talking to my teachers. I had sat through many different classes failing and was so ashamed to even talk to my teachers about it that I kept failing. I just kept doing worse because I wasn't talking to anybody. When I started talking to my teachers and I started telling them, no, I'm not understanding this, I'm not getting this, they were willing to put in time with me. They were willing to help me. They were willing to help me put in the work. And when they saw that I was a hard worker, they rewarded that hard work. I can remember even back then, I had a class where I thought I was going to do bad in. I told the professor, I said, look, I'm going to be real. I didn't do so well on the first test, but I feel like I'm going to blow this final out the water. If you could replace my first test with my final grade, could we just go that route? Do you know that that teacher made that deal with me? Just because I opened my big mouth, asked for it, and showed improved. And I made an A on that test and did well in that class. We have to think about things in terms of what we want for ourselves. And when I started to do that, I started to soar. I started to stop being afraid of failure. When you stop being afraid of failure, you start to reach out to people more, ask for help, ask for things that you need, because you realize that failure is a part of life, but it does not define you and where you are going. I call it fall and immediately learn. So if you fail, get back up. Figure out what's your next step and move going to be and how you're going to do it better than the time you failed. My failure in school taught me so much for my next years, because after that I basically had anywhere from a 3.2 to a 4.0 on every report card. I tell you something about having to pull yourself out of a hole, no matter what it is. It makes you a better person. It helps you to understand hard times. It helps you not to care about all the yip yapping that's going on around you. It helps you to value yourself, and you find out that you slay so much that other people are being motivated by you. And what I didn't know is what I did when I picked up and changed and thought about failure differently. I motivated other people around me. Those that I did not know were failing, those that I did not know had hard times, started to come out the woodwork to say, you know, you showed me how I should do this. You're motivational. You're doing great. That's awesome. And you know what? I didn't have to seek for anybody to give me a pat on the back, because I had given myself pats on the back along the way. So when I got the accolades, when I got the achievements, when I got the accomplishments, I already believed I could, because I'd seen the other side. I knew my potential, and I knew that if I failed, I would get back up, dust myself off, and I would try again. And I started going to some events, some functions, some socials, some parties. You need to let loose sometimes, but you gotta know how to balance your time. I learned how to manage my time. If you put things in terms of prioritizing, then it really helps you to grow. It helps you to do better. My words to you today, whatever it is you're gonna do, whatever you're gonna pick up, whatever major you're gonna do, try it out, do it. If it don't work for you, fix it. There's nothing wrong with having problems. There's nothing wrong with failing a time or two. I've done it a couple times, because we're human and that happens. So I want you to take that power, that acknowledgement, that motivation, and let it push you to be your best. You have a blessed year. I pray that everything that you want comes to pass. If you continue to put your work in, if you continue to track your progress, be it failures, be it achievements, I guarantee you, you will motivate yourself to get to that next level. I wish you nothing but peace and blessings. Let me know down below some of you all's stories or some of the things you've experienced. I plan to do an adulting series, how I learned how to adult, how you manage your career, how you manage your finances, and other topics. So if there's other things you want to know, let me know down below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Beautiful brown baby doll. Peace.